Think you'd survive a nuclear apocalypse? Only one way to find out. Metro Exodus is here, and it wants to kill you. It's not like we've been starved of post-apocalyptic wastelands to explore in the last decade of PC gaming. For whatever reason, it's been pretty commonplace to run around in a brown field or loot a caravan full of skeletons lately, but don't let that put you off Metro Exodus. This is a different kind of shooter, a game that laughs at your outstretched hand as you wait for it to hold it, because Metro is, famously, a hardcore shooter. In other words, it's a game that places stern demands on you. But how do you overcome those demands? Time to answer exactly that. Here are 7 hardcore elements you need to know in Metro Exodus.
Oh, I can't believe my eyes! Artyom!
Just take a look around here. What do you see? Yep, lots of beautiful environmental details, a few skin-crawling horrors resulting from a nuclear holocaust some time ago, and most importantly, no gaudy HUD standing in the way of your view. Metro Exodus is staunchly committed to conveying the info you need without taking you out of the game. If that means Artyom must trek around in post-nuclear Russia with more gadgets strapped to him than a JML sales rep, so be it. Everything you need to know is visible in-game. His watch tells you how much time your air filter has left. That little display tells you the radiation levels in the area. An actual map and compass shows you where to go, and the sound of a clicking Geiger counter or a beeping alarm tell you when it's time to run away from anomalies or change your filter. On normal difficulty settings, you do still get ammo counters, but except for that, you need to pay attention to in-game sights and sounds rather than the HUD for crucial info.
We'd better try the open approach.
This isn't the kind of game where you shoot a rude word into a wall to check out gun accuracy, because ammo is thinner on the ground than good similes in this video. There are many, many ways to die in a radioactive tundra, but perhaps none more ignominious than being savaged by mutant dogs because you used up all your bullets shooting the word bum into an old rail yard door a few minutes back. That scarcity makes you think before you go barreling into a fight. Can you actually afford to shoot everyone, or will you have to use a bit of stealth instead and take them out by hand?
If they notice you, we're both done for.
Maybe you only have enough bullets if you headshot everyone, or perhaps you can craft a Molotov and try to take 2 out at once. Frankly, nothing makes us feel more hardcore than that. And if that wasn't enough for you, ammo is craftable too, which means you should always be on the lookout for crafting materials and workbenches so that you can replenish your gun food. And if you're really out of options, there's always this bizarrely powerful BB gun. Yes, it needs to be pumped every few shots like an old Nerf gun, but it really does a number on undead heads. Remember the olden days when you'd be given a new and more powerful weapon every few levels? The progression was usually something like this. Melee weapon, then a pistol, then a shotgun. Then it'd be a submachine gun, assault rifle, and finally 3 or 4 absolutely mental energy-based weapons. The rules were clear and simple. Keep playing, get more powerful. But Metro Exodus is, of course, a hardcore shooter. Remember. So obviously it doesn't just gift you a new boomstick every 10 paces. If you want a fancier firearm, you'll need to strip the parts off your dead enemy's guns, get back to a workbench and install them manually. And it's less about making yourself ever more powerful and more about tailoring your arsenal to each situation's demands. Your comrades will generally let you know what you're supposed to do next, so if the upcoming encounter is a stealthy set piece, it's maybe an idea to fit a few suppressors. There's another mechanic to think about when you're slogging through the waterlogged tundra too. Weapons get dirty over time, and that impairs their stats. However, you can clean them up again at a workbench and restore their former glory by spending some chemicals. So rather than an ever-improving weapon set, you've got a backpack full of grubby guns that require actual maintenance. That is hardcore. And also a good reason to pick up chemical supplies whenever you see them. Brace yourself because I'm about to use the phrase emergent gameplay, like someone on an E3 livestream trying to talk, play a game on stage, and sweat profusely all at the same time. Ready? Enemies in Metro Exodus come in 3 broad varieties: human, mutant, and anomaly. They all behave quite differently, as you'd expect, given that humans are fleshy bipeds carrying guns, whereas the anomalies are, well, what exactly? A sentient gas? Not much like a human anyway. Your exchanges with these very different hostile forces leads to a lot of Emergent gameplay. Thank you. What I mean is that you're often forced to improvise, and it's often a better idea to avoid a fight entirely than to engage at all. For example, running from a pack of mutant doggos, you wander into an electrical anomaly. You don't have enough ammo to fight off the dogs, but to escape the anomaly in the other direction, you'd be heading right into a bandit camp. What do you do? Metro forces you to ask yourself these questions, and sometimes the best course of action is to not get in a fight with those mutant doggos in the first place. Instead, look around and listen for any and all enemy activity, because fights can escalate and force you into unknown territory.
Thank you for the information.
Remember earlier when we were talking about how little HUD this game has going on? Well, when you whack the difficulty all the way up to the irresistible sounding Ranger Hardcore mode, you can kiss goodbye to every last element of it, including the crosshair, aka that thing you use to tell whether your bullets hit the nasty man's head or the sky above him. However, you can still attach lasers and sights to your weapons, so in this mode getting the weapon parts to do so becomes a real priority. Hitting your marks is especially important when one hit from an enemy can kill you outright, and when ammo is even more scarce than in the already stingy normal and hardcore difficulties. That means it's usually better to take the stealthy approach when you sight a new enemy, but that in turn raises the tension to levels which, truth be told, our poor tickers have quite a hard time with. Get spotted on normal difficulty and a gunfight breaks out. Fine, good. Get spotted here and you have about 8 bullets to take out an entire camp of furious men who can insta-kill you. In other words, yes, Ranger Hardcore is pretty hardcore. Take it on only when you feel really attuned to Exodus's shooting mechanics and confident in your headshotting and sneaking abilities.
Silent, Artyom, because it's dead.
Levels are quite big in Exodus. It's kind of this game's thing. Gone are the tight corridors and previous Metro games, replaced by this terrifying sprawl of nature and dereliction in oddly beautiful harmony. Anyway, as pretty as it looks while you're walking around, the vast expanse of each level is absolutely brimming with things that will hurt you. This is a bad thing. You'll also be walking further and further away from the safety of your train, where you can rest and craft new supplies. This is also a bad thing. The solution, obviously, is to form a definite plan before you set off towards your objective. For example, are you going to head straight to the primary quest marker on your map, or will you stop off to pick that little girl's teddy bear up from a demon's nest first? Trying to do both without stopping off somewhere to lick your wounds and replenish ammo is not a good idea. I know how it sounds when you hear a tips video telling you to learn the game's controls. Yeah, thanks video, didn't think of that. I can shoot loads more mutants now because I know that shoot is mapped to the left mouse button. What a lifesaver. But hear me out, because the controls in Metro Exodus are quite extensive. There are 27 keyboard binds in total, and some of them are so specific that you'd be hard pushed to remember them all off the bat. Holding down G puts on Artyom's gas mask, for example, and then tapping it while wearing it gives it a wipe. T, on the other hand, swaps out your air filter, which is as specific a command as you will find anywhere in PC gaming. And then L gets out your lighter, which is used primarily to burn away cobwebs. Yes, a whole key for burning away cobwebs. We won't recite the entire command input screen here, but suffice to say, Metro Exodus is the kind of game that wants you to handle its systems of your own accord. So get those controls in your head.
Rise and shine, people!
Still alive? Great. You've really mastered this post-apocalyptic ranger thing. While we go off to our workbench to fashion more YouTube videos out of green crystals we found in an old train station, why not give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video and hit that subscribe button for more content like this. Got a tip of your own for surviving Metro Exodus? Share the wealth below in the comments. Until next time, keep those gas masks in good working order, comrades.